Hey folks, welcome back. It's been about 6 months since I purchased this Firebox, and I wanted to throw a video together just to kind of go over some of the things that I've experienced and kind of share some tricks with you. I know that Firebox does have a tips and tricks video. It's a lot of information in that video, and it's a great video. I'm just going to kind of go through some of the key elements, picking from everything that I've learned so far throughout these 6 months that's really important to note when you use the Firebox Freestyle. So let's get on it. One of the first things I want to bring up is how to assemble just a single Freestyle. The suggested method by Firebox is the best method. I've tried many different ways of setting it up, and I've always run into issues. But the quickest way is as follows. So, take it out of the pan. Make sure and keep that to the side. For your fire sticks. And this is great. I'll put this to the side for now. So the most important thing in any of these configurations in the Freestyle is understanding the placement of this baffle, this wind dampener. If you look at it on all the videos, it's so much easier using this as a reference point. So using this as a reference point, I will open and ensure that this wind baffle or wind dampener is facing me. Now if you notice with the Firebox, there is a 2 long sides and then 2 short sides. So if you look at southeast and then northeast corners, those are going to be the long sides and the short sides. Same with the bottom grate. You've got a long side, and 2 short sides. Now, the suggested method is to place the fire sticks through the front. Alright, so you want to make sure that the bottom grate is angled with the 2 long sides facing southeast and the 2 short sides facing northwest. Now, with that being said, what you would do, if you look at the bottom, just like in this position, you take it, you slide it all the way down, then you flip it downwards, and then it locks into place. Doing it this way is so much easier. Now, let's say we put the fire sticks through the side. That's great, but if you try to do the slide in, it's gonna tend to slip through the bottom. So really the best position for these fire sticks is going to be through the front, just like that. Again, long, short, slide and then down. Just like that. Perfect every time. Now also another thing or another trick that I never noticed, but I did experience this, is when I use the fire sticks on the top and I'm using a pan or something like that, if the pan comes to the edge, sometimes the fire sticks tend to slide off. But what I've noticed, that if you push the fire sticks in a position to slide into these perfectly engineered holes, it doesn't tip. Even better, if you flip it across to the other side and then put it through the the other hole, now you've got a more stable area for your pan. Just a thought. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was the placement of the Trangia burner. I've fumbled around with this for quite some time now, and I really didn't understand that this needed to be placed in a certain position until I needed to use the simmering. And it was only until I reviewed, that Firebox video, that Firebox training video on the Freestyle, that I realized that, oh my goodness, you need to place this Trangia in the, in this particular slot in order for the simmer ring to work properly, or the best location for the simmer ring to work properly. And what I found, or what I learned, was the best position for the Trangia burner will have to be these two outer slots on the side. If you notice, using the wind dampener or the wind baffle as a reference point on either side, going horizontally is the best position for this Trangia burner. And as you can see here, it gives it a nice tight fit, and with the baffle up and the baffle down, you can easily place the simmering just enough height that you can easily put the simmering on. And I found that extremely important, especially when you're doing delicate things like boiling a pot of rice or making some eggs. You want to make sure and have that temperature control. You want to be able to get that simmering on the Trangia burner easily, and the best position for that, again, is going to be the second slot going in horizontally with the wind dampener or the wind baffle facing towards you. Okay, let's go ahead and move to a 2 freestyle setup. Now, this is where things get really interesting and somewhat confusing. I know it was extremely confusing for me for a while. It took me several times to figure this out, these different setups. But eventually, I think I kind of, through trial and error and looking at the videos, I'm gonna show you the way that I finally learned it. But first off, let's start off with these tins, these fire tins. The fire tins are great because it gives you some level of protection of catching the ashes or any stray embers. But but you would notice that the lid is just slightly wider than the bottom of the tin. So when you line them up together, just like that, you would not only have that little gap right there in the center, which is okay, it's expected, but now you've created another gap right here down the center. Now if you want this to be, a lot better, the way I do it, I would flip it around so you have the top of the tin here and the top of the tin on this side. Now when you push them together, you've got a perfect seam, perfectly sealed seam. And if you notice here, now all you really have to deal with is that small little hole in the center, which is to be expected. But that gives you a better seal, and to me, it has a better fit. Okay. So let's go through the configurations. So the first configuration that you encounter is going to be the 3-panel configuration, and And that's fairly simple. The most important thing you need to remember is the number 3, because really that's the panel that you remove. So you can see on the Firebox they're dots. On the Freestyle they're dots. So this is panel 1. I don't know if you can see this here, but that signifies panel 1. The 2 dots here signify panel 2. 3 dots, panel 3, and then you've got panel 4. So if you want to do the 3 panel configuration, what you would do is remove panel number 3. Once you have panel number 3 removed, just reinsert the fire sticks, and there you have it. I do not have a Toaks alcohol stove, so I do not typically use this, or have not used this in this configuration, but just know that it's there. Okay. So with your 3 panel configuration, the most important thing for this configuration is not necessarily putting it together, but it's actually taking it apart, because you have to be extremely conscious of which pin to take out. So if you make it, or if you do the wrong pin or pull the wrong pin, I can guarantee you that you're going to be spending hours trying to figure out which one's the correct panel, and you'll spend too much time. So if you look at this configuration here, you've got panel number 4, panel number 1, panel number 2, and again panel number 4 over here. So the pin that's between panel 2 and panel 4 is definitely the one that you have to remove, because you're going to have to reinsert panel number 3 in between. So that's what we're going to do. I remember when I first tried this configuration, I removed the pin between panel 1 and 2, and I was pulling my hair out for a few minutes trying to figure out what I did wrong. So it's really critical and important, not only knowing how to put it into the configuration, but also how to take it out of the configuration. And there you go. So now we have panel 1, panel 2, panel 3, and panel 4. Again with the wind baffle in front of us as a reference point. Okay, so that's simple enough, right? So let's do the Bushcraft 6, or the 6 panel configuration, and we'll start off with that. With all these configurations, your reference point for the starting of the configuration will always be panel 1. So you want to always make sure that panel 1 is facing up towards you. Again, I'll remove these fire sticks, just put it to the side. Don't need this for now. And again, you've got panel 1 and panel 1. So with the 6 panel configuration, you'll have to remove this first panel, this panel 1. And again, what you would do is take the 2 pins out from the top. Now when we say the top, if you have panel 1 facing you, you can see you've got, you see that you have a pinhole here and a pinhole here, and also these 2 bottom ones. So that's with panel 1 facing upwards. Now once that's done, you do the same for the other set. Let's put this aside. We simply remove panel 1, remove panel 1, and then we take one set and flip it over the other. And then now you can see all we have to do is reinsert the fire sticks in that center hole. Just like that. Again, using the baffle as your reference, you take one, you find the other, and then you simply pull. And there you have it, folks. This is the 6-panel setup right here. just as a reference point, if you want to see the size of this setup, I've got a ruler here, and we can measure that, and we are looking roughly about 7.5 inches, just a little bit shorter than that, but roughly about 7.5 inches. Yep, 7.5 inches on one end, and obviously about 4 inches because this is a 4-inch firebox. So about 4 inches on this side and about 7.5 on this side. If you've got an 8-inch pot, it'll be perfect for it. Now with this configuration, this is considered the Bushcraft 6 configuration. You can also move it into a hexagon position, just like that. And in the hexagon position, all you really have to do is take your fire sticks, and if I do this correctly, you basically put them on either side, just like that. Let me grab a hexagon base. And you can place it inside here, just like that. So this is great for the campfire if you decide to use charcoal, or if you want to grill something. I would definitely say to use your fire sticks and definitely raise it up if you want to get, you know, good sear or good contact with the heat. What I found, that's the best way to do it. I wonder if you could put another fire stick on the other side there, but that might be difficult. Let's just do it this way. There you go, just like that. Again, let's take some measurements. If we want to look at the diameter, I guess, we can go from one corner to another, and we're still looking at about 7.5 inches right there. So if you have an 8-inch pot or a 10-inch pot, this will definitely be enough for an 8-inch pot to fit in. Let's take a look. So this right here is the Firebox 8-inch pan. As you can tell, it fits right on top, just perfect. If you can see it. If you have a billy pot, which I do not, but I do have a fairly good stand-in for a billy pot here, which is my pan or my pot, different type of pot, not a billy pot, but I believe the 3-quart, the largest billy pot on Firebox website is a 3-quart, which is 6.3 inches. This one here measures roughly about a little bit over 6.5 or 6 3/4. So this pot fits right in into this configuration just fine. So, you know, if you have anything smaller, a 2-quart or a 1-quart, it should fit just fine. So the hexagon does not come with the Freestyle kits. You would actually have to purchase the Freestyle mod kit to get all the attachment accessories. And it also comes with 2 long fire sticks and some other grates that would also fit for the octagon, and I do believe that there's a square grate also. But these fire sticks are really important in a few of the configurations, which you'll find. So with the 2 long fire sticks, you can definitely use them in any configuration that you want. So this is the best part about the Firebox Freestyle, is that it's such a modular kit. The flexibility is pretty much synonymous to an erector set. I'm kind of aging myself right now, but you can basically take these panels, add it on, add another Firebox Freestyle kit to it, and just build, go wild with your imagination. But with this Freestyle mod kit, you do get the two long fire sticks and the two notched fire sticks, which are really important for the configurations, or the more advanced configurations. It kind of helps keeping everything in place. So again, with the sticks, there's there's no perfect spot to put them in. It's really all depends on how you want to use it, where you want to place them. I mean, you can do something like this, certainly, if you wanted to. That way you can have, a pot hanging out the edge here if you want, or another pot or something like that. But these fire sticks are extremely important. So if you do get a second Freestyle to make these configurations, please definitely consider also purchasing the Freestyle mod kit. Extremely important. Okay, so this is pretty much a 6-panel Campfire. I do like this configuration, but a lot of the things that I cook, I really do want to have that larger surface area, large enough for me to sometimes cook 2 meals at the same time. But sometimes that can be extremely difficult. Again, this right here is the Bushcraft. If you want to do more of a rectangular pattern, that's your Bushcraft. Again, you can use your fire sticks to hold things in place. A good example for this notched fire stick right here is definitely placing it in the center so you can hold the form so it doesn't move. That way you can definitely use it in this configuration, which is perfect. Alright, so let's go ahead and go through the 8-panel configuration, which is relatively simple. Same process. You always start with both your Freestyles facing towards you, or make sure that panel 1 is facing towards you. When it's facing towards you, all you'd have to do is just remove the right pin on panel 1. Again, the right pin on panel 1, just one of them. So we just remove the pin, and once we have the pins removed, all you have to do simply is open panel 1 and make sure that you lay it side by side, just like that. Once you have panel 1 to the left, you just take one panel, place it on top of the other panel. Now, what I like to do is insert the pin on the right side first. I'd get it aligned. I'd forget about that one for a while. Don't do that one. So what you do is insert this. And the reason why I say not to do this one is because of the angle that this is in. It's just really not conducive to do it from this side. The best thing is, after you get this pin in, flip the whole thing over, and you can see where these hinges, they line up a lot better when it's facing towards you. Okay, so that's done. Again, as the reference point, use your wooden baffle, hold it, and again the other one, hold it, and then you pull. Just like that. And now we have our Bushcraft 8. Again, as a reference point, let's take some measurements here. I'm going to close these wind baffles. So what we're looking at here is roughly close to 11.5 inches. Yep, 11.5 inches. Right about here, 11.5 inches. And again, the width is going to be about 4 inches, since it's a 4-inch firebox. But there you go. Now with this one, I did not bring it out on the 6 panel, but there is a rectangular grate that can be used on the 6 panel and on the 8 panel. Which is this guy right here. So you can see that you can use it for the Bushcraft 6, or you can extend it for the Bushcraft 8. Notice that there's a hinge right here, and this hinge flexes. So when you place your fire stick to mount this grate, you want to make sure that you place at least 2 on either side, or 1 right directly underneath the hinge or pretty close to the hinge. If not, you're going to have some problems. It's going to start flopping around. It's going to start doing one of these deals, and you definitely don't want that. So if I'm looking at this configuration right here, what I would typically do is take my fire stick, the one with the notch, and that's what I use to hold the form. What you can do is just simply place it in here, just like this. Make sure it notches so it's in place just like that. I'll take another fire stick, just a short one, and place it just about here towards the end. And I'll take another fire stick and I'll place it on the other side here. And because I'm extremely paranoid, I will take another fire stick and put it down here. That way I know it's definitely not going to fall. So you're going to have something looking like this. So how many ever fire sticks that you use, there's really no general rule. It's really based on the level of your paranoia. So if you look at this now, that hinge is pretty secure. It's not gonna fall down. You're not gonna have to worry about it falling down. So you can use as many fire sticks as you want. You can use all of them. Again, there's really no rhyme or reason on how you want to use these fire sticks. You can put them on an angle. You can put them on a V. You can even slide them into these holes. Don't forget that. And you can even, put like another tray here or something like that if you want to use as a warming station. I don't know. Again, it's an erector set, so you have all the panels. You can do whatever you want with them. Go crazy. But this, in general, is the Bushcraft 8. It's a wonderful little thing. Now, we're looking at roughly about 11.5 inches. So the big question is, how many pots can I actually put onto this? Well, it really depends again on the size of the pot. I've got 2 pots. I've got 2 8-inch pans. And as you can see here, these 2 8-inch firebox pans, they just barely fit on there, right there. But you can get them on. Okay. So if you want to do something like that, you can definitely, get 2 of these bad boys on here just like that. You may have some overlap, but that's fine. If you have something smaller, like a billy pot, you can definitely fit, a billy pot and the 8-inch, frying pan. So you can definitely have 2 pots. This one I do like, for that mere fact, because you get a lot of space. Okay, so I'll take this configuration out and we'll go ahead and do the Campfire 8. So for the Campfire 8, you don't really need the long fire sticks because you can use the Freestyle fire sticks, for this purpose. And what you would do is basically, again, I'm just using the wind baffle as a reference point, but you just basically go from one panel here to that one notch to the other side. That kind of holds it in place. Then you kind of spin it around, jump to the other panel, and again, stick it in from the side, and you just keep on going around until you get everything inserted, and eventually it'll start to hold its form. Just like that. So as you can tell on the inside, you do have your fire sticks that are in place perfectly, so you can use that to support. The round grate that comes with it, which is this guy right here. You can place it inside there, and there you go. Again, as a reference for size, let's take a look. So now we've gone from the 11.5 inches that we had with the Bushcraft 8. Now really only having, let's do from this angle to this angle right here, about 10 inches. So it looks like we lost roughly about 1.5 inches of cooking space, but you've got this huge massive area, as you can tell. So let's measure that from the furthest points in each side, so that's 10 inches right there. Now, I've seen lots of videos with this. Again, the fire sticks, erector set. You can put them here. You can hang a pot off of it if you want. You can have several pots, so you can have a pot hanging off of here, just boiling water. Let's see if this will fit. I think the fry pan will fit, but again, it's going to be pretty tight. So it can share the space, but it will be somewhat tight. Now in the Bushcraft 8, we did have a little bit wider or longer of a width at about 11.5 inches. So if you really want to do two-pot cooking, that would probably be the best configuration for that. But yeah, this will work too. Definitely you'll have to use more fire sticks to make sure that your pot doesn't fall through this configuration, but as you can see here, it works just fine. Different configurations on the pots. Okay. So this, my friends, is the Campfire 8. Alright folks, so let's go through a couple of advanced configurations here. So from the octagon or the 8-panel state or configuration, you can get into quite a few of them. One of the more common advanced configurations that I've used quite a bit is what they call the Keyhole. So you start the Keyhole configuration. The easiest way to do the Keyhole configuration is to start at the Bushcraft 8. Then you would take one of your notched pin or one of your notched fire sticks and place it on one side. Make sure that's locked into place. Once that's locked into place, then you can start maneuvering the other 5 panels into that hexagonal shape. And I'll take one of the other fire pins and kind of place them inside here. Just like that. Once you get it into that shape, then you can take your hexagon grate, place it in, and you can take the bottom fire plate. Same rule still applies. So you're still looking for the 2 longest. That's your wind baffle. So don't forget the other fire stick. Then you place it inside here. Just like that. Which is perfect. Now you've got 2 different cooking areas. You can do, you know, a boil on this side, and then you can do, you know, either a bake or something else that you want to do on this side, but you've got, you know, 2 distinct areas. Now I did have one comment when I did use this to use the grate as a separator, which is a great idea. So you can use that and just simply put another fire stick right here to separate it off. That way you can have 2 distinct areas and there's no overlap of the of your heat source. So everything stays nice and separated. Alright, so let's see how it looks with the pan. Again, the 8-inch pan. Using my fire sticks, my long fire sticks in this one. You can see it fits just perfectly. Can I fit another 8-inch pan on the side? That would be a negative. It will fall. But can I stick something like a smaller pan, like a billy pot? Yeah, if I shift it around a bit, I can get a billy pot, which is, this one is about 6 1/4 inches, and this one, the base is, well, the top is about a little bit over 8 inches. So that's what it looks like. Okay. Again, let's take some measurements and see what this looks like. So, from end to end, from baffle to baffle, you're looking roughly right about, it's about 10.5 inches. But this is going to be the Keyhole Advanced configuration. I use this quite a bit. And if you want to use something like a grill grate for this, I have used or prefer using the square grill grate if I'm going to be doing any type of grilling. That way I can hold the edge and just lift it if I need to if the fire becomes too hot. There are the other grill grates, like the round grill grate. The only problem is you have it starting to encroach into the other area. So I like the flat contact right here on this square grill grate. Okay. The other configuration that you can do with the octagon or the 8 panel. Let's take these out. Is another advanced configuration that they call the L shape. I haven't used it yet. Haven't really found a need to use it, but I surely can. Again, we'll start off with, you know, the Bushcraft 8 I'll go ahead and lock in one of these panels just like that. I'll make sure and spin it around, and I'm going to take one side and turn it until it turns into that wonderful L shape. And what you can do also is take the other notched fire stick, place it in here so that it also locks the other end. So this is locked and now this is locked. And I'll take this fire stick and I'll go diagonally so that everything now locks into place, just like that. I don't know if you can see it, but that's what that formation looks like. And I'll take the last and final fire stick and insert it here for that other grate. Now what I'll do at this time for the bottom grate, I will take the extended plate, just close it down, place it down here into the center, and that will be there for my bottom grate. I can probably put another one probably at an angle somewhere to hold it up, but that's good enough. Then I'll take this one, again looking for the long and short ends, and I'll carefully place it into that area. And there you have it, the L-shaped configuration. Not sure if you can see it, but that's what we're looking at right here, is the L-shaped configuration. Now again, there's many different configurations that you can do. It's really all based on your imagination and how crazy you want to get with it. There's one configuration that I've seen people call it a configuration, but it's not really a configuration. It's just a reduction, I guess. If you go into a Bushcraft 8 and decide, well, you know what, I don't like the Bushcraft 8, I just want to go ahead and make it smaller, you can just kind of fold it and make it into a smaller, a 6-panel type style, Bushcraft 6. So, this is what we're looking at here. It's not really a configuration, it's just realigning the panels, but it's going from the 8-panel to a 6-panel. The other one that I've thought of was also looking at a square configuration. A square configuration for me is kind of nice because then you don't, you can fit more things on there. So if I want to do skewers, for example, I can line them up a lot easier, or a lot more skewers than I would in a square than I would in an octagon type shape. It makes it a lot easier. Gives you better cooking surface area if you want to do skewers. So I haven't done that yet, but I will try it and see if it works. So there are many different configurations that you can do with this. Once again, it all depends on your level of imagination. So that's pretty much it. All right, the last thing I wanted to do is kind of go through the process on how I close up shop, pretty much. So what I like to do, just like everybody else, is take my grill grate. This one's a stainless steel, so I'm going to do the stainless steel one first. I'll flip this over to make sure that baffle is facing towards me. It fits perfectly right inside there, just like that. I don't know if you can see it, but it fits perfectly, just like that. Then what I'll do, I'll take my fire sticks. I'll put 2 at either side. If I can get it in here. Just like that. And 2 over here. Just like that. With it fitting snugly inside that grate, just like that. I don't know if you can see that, but it fits just snugly in there. Now, what is recommended to do for the bottom grate is to place it in here the same way you would actually have to slide it in when you put it together. You know, with the wind baffles facing towards you, where you do the whole entire slide in and drop. So again, what you're going to look for is the two long, okay, going southeast, and the two shorts going northwest. Yeah, northwest. Okay. You may have the urge to actually take this ridge and put it above there. It doesn't really matter, but you don't have that good compression on those fire sticks, so you may get a little bit of a rattle. It's always good to place the grate underneath that hinge. I don't know if you can see it right there, but it's now underneath that hinge. That way you can get pressure onto those fire sticks on either side. If not, you will get a little bit of a rattle, and it might drive you insane on your hike. Take the Ranger band. I like to kind of open it up with my hand, and I like to kind of put it on that first part right there. And then what I do, I just kind of roll and walk it down. Just kind of walk it all the way down until I get to the middle. You want to kind of get in the middle of the grate here so you can get good compression, so you can really get a good hold on those fire sticks. Okay, so you don't get too much of a rattle. And that's pretty much it. You want to make sure though that your Ranger band is not compressed more on one side. And if you think it is, you just kind of use your finger and just kind of roll it around until you can, you know, kind of tell that there's even compression on either side. But once that's done, that's pretty much it right there. Ticketed skates, put it inside the case and close it. I do have the bag. I'm washing and drying my bags right now because I just did a cleanup on this. So I'm definitely going to put this into a bag here later. Close it up. And that's all she wrote. Alright, let's do that for the titanium. Again, fire sticks. There you go. Everything nice and tight. And then we just close her up. There you go, folks. Thanks again. If you like content like this, please like, please subscribe, and once again, have a good burn. See you on the next one.